Welcome back! Today is the last day of Symbolism and WordRoots. I'm Ms. Bailey McCrae, and let's get started.
Last day for Symbolism and WordRoots. Our objectives for the week were 8.4C and 8.5D. So by the end of the week, we should be proficient in using roots, affixes, synonyms, and antonyms to determine the meanings of unfamiliar words and technical vocabulary, and also explain the use of symbols and figurative language. I hope you feel that after we've worked through those 3 texts, you feel confident that you can do 8.5D, and after your practice worksheets, you can do 8.4C. Therefore, today's learning target. Today I will explain the use of symbolism. I know I can describe it when I can explain the example of this term in a text. So it's my understanding you've been reading at least 20 minutes a day. So I hope that you can find this symbolism in the book that you're reading. Also, today I will define an unknown word using word parts or context clues. So please keep in mind that word roots, suffixes, prefixes, all of those things are word parts. You can use your synonyms and antonyms to construct context clues as well. So you will know that you can define an unknown word using those strategies when you can explain how you figured out a definition. I ask my John Marshall students to do this all the time. We use our 3 vocabulary strategies, and finding those context clues using word parts is definitely one of them. Please remember that our definition for figurative language is words, phrases, or figures of speech used purposefully to emphasize or persuade an audience. The weekly vocabulary we covered were symbolism, root, affixes, synonyms, and antonyms. We understand that symbolism means an event, object, person, or animal to which significance or meaning is attached. On day 1, we talked about how the dove is associated as a symbol of peace and purity. So when we see that on someone's license plate, or we see it in a TV show, or on a tattoo or something, we know that that's supposed to symbolize peace and purity. Similarly, we understand that fire, an image of fire, can be a symbol for danger or heat or destruction. When we break down our word parts, the first part of a word is the root, the basic part, a word in which prefixes and suffixes can attach to. If you imagine the word in the shape of a puzzle piece, the root has these outy pieces on the side, right? They can attach into something else. So the word root can be attached on the front or the back end. Word roots are things like form. We can think of deform, reform, right? Inform, credibility, and photosynthesis, photography. I hope that makes sense. So then affixes are going to be prefixes and suffixes. These are the modifiers that we attach to our root word. Notice a prefix has this "-any", right, that can attach to the outer piece here, right? And the suffix has it on the other side, meaning that it attaches on the end. We represent that with the dashes. So prefixes can be re, as in reform, de, as in deformed, and uni, as in universal, uniform. Make sense? Conversely, you have the suffix, right? So ing, when we attach that, that becomes a suffix. Running, screaming, I'm sure those are things you want to do right now. ity, it makes it a noun. Credibility, right? And ology, the study of. Whenever you see any of these things at the end of the word, that suddenly brings that extra meaning to it. So psychology, sociology, biology. They're all the study of something. We also talked about synonyms this week. A synonym is a word that means the same. Okay? In our example from day 1, we talked about our house. House being a building in which you live. If we wanted to substitute that with another word that meant the same, we might say building or home. Those are equally connotated words. If you want to say something more negatively, you might say hut or shack or, I don't know, box. That's really mean. If you lived in a larger neighborhood, you might want to say mansion. If you wanted to connotate that overly positively, or not even just negative or positive, but you wanted to add this pridefulness to it, a little bit of hubris, they would call it in Greek culture, right? So pay attention to your connotation if you're going to start substituting in words in your writing. You don't want to add something that has a prideful or negative connotation when you're talking positively. Perhaps my favorite are those antonyms, words that mean the opposite. So an antonym is an antonym of a synonym. So some of the examples I provided for you were enter, exit, inside, outside, true, false, love, hate, and our favorite light bulbs, off and on. The review questions for this day would be, what is symbolism? But more importantly, why do authors use it? What is a word root? How does this word part relate to the other word parts? Why? What are the affixes? When do we use them? How do they work? When can they be useful? Lastly, what is a synonym? What is an antonym? Why do we need these words? How do they help our writing? The last piece I have for you today is our independent practice. This is a form that looks much the same as your day 1 form. So you'll click this link and it'll take you to this Google form. It really does look almost exactly the same. Some of the language is different, asking you for more specific things. This is just a comparison from day 1 to day 5. What did you learn? Did you maybe make a mistake on the first form and now you've corrected it? We just want to see some growth. It's been a pleasure teaching and learning with you this week. I hope you got a little something out of it, and I hope you look forward to next week with Ms. Lopez.